Welcome back to another episode of Launch Your Light, a podcast for the mystical and magical woman here to share her soul purpose. All right, we are back with our girl Inez for the July energy report. July is here, and we are going to explore the depths of what this month has in store for you. Welcome back to the show, Ineza.
Thank you so much for having me. Like we already talked about how different the energy is this month, like going, and I love that we are doing it on day one. It's kind of, and also, like I said, there's these big planets moving retrograde, which we're going to talk about. But we were starting with, you said you are returning from 4 days off the grid. So can you quickly just maybe share with people
Yeah.
how it was?
So I just got back from 4 days of up in the mountains with my Cancer girlfriend, who it's her birthday today. So giving a shout out to my
Aw.
girl, Ashley. How perfect for me to spend the weekend up off grid in nature. I had the kiddos with me. I was doing a solo parenting adventure. Jayme, my husband, stayed home, held down the fort for the business. And I brought the kids. It was like 3.5 hours up, and I'm like, I'm doing it. Like they're little, they're 18 months and 3 years, but I'm like, I really want to have these memories and have these experiences with them. And I
Yeah.
used to be the person who would just hop in the car and go. So it takes more planning than that, but I was like, this is happening. And they live off grid pretty much. So it was just like really being immersed in nature.
Mm-hmm.
And like the kids just got to be wild. You know what I mean? Like the kids just got to turn into their like natural animal selves, and it's safe up there so they can like head out the door and just go play. And there was other kids and like farm
Like
dogs.
like
Oh,
in the old like in the old days, which
yeah,
was normal, where we would just run out in the morning and come
yeah,
back in the afternoon. Yeah, it was
yeah.
like that when I lived. Yeah.
And
And
it's
like,
they're up in the mountains, and I'll just give a plug right now. They're the owners and the stead, like the keepers, the earth keepers and the guardians of Sacred Nectar Sanctuary. So anyone in New England or in the States, guys, check out what they got going on up there. It's all like conscious community, and it's the guy that owns it is, I really didn't think I'd start talking about this immediately, but here we are. It's just like,
it's cool. I think it's so fitting with the cancer and family and roots and like
right.
create community. Go on, go on.
Right. Okay. So yeah, so he's just such a craftsman, and she's a medicine woman, and they're this really beautiful, powerful couple of just like doing the damn thing. And he's like building these things with his hands. And I like the artist in me was just like taking these snapshots and still points, these pictures that were like just from this like bird's eye view from the sauna he built with his hand
Um,
that is like standing right outside this like running brook from the mountain, pure mountain water. So me and my girlfriend yesterday, he watched the kids for us, God bless him. And her and I got to have a naked steam together and then jump in like giddy little
Oh,
girls and jump into the brook together. And it's like, yeah, this is what our ancestors used to do in the spring. And you know what I mean? And they're all about bringing communities together. They have a Forest in the Village event coming up in August where all the families get together and the men go up and hike for 4 days away from the women. And the maidens, the teenagers, they take care of the little kids. And the mamas get to sit and be together and take a fresh
yeah.
deep breath and maybe enjoy a meal without being screamed or yanked at. And the elders and the women and the wisdom women are going to come in and like support the kids and support food. It's just like brilliant. You know what I mean? Like, and unplugging. And when I went up there, there's no service. So no service, no social media, no emails, no texts. And I let it go. I wasn't looking for the crack of service there was, on the farm in between these two mountains.
Yeah.
I let it go.
It
And
just sounds like a paradise. Yeah.
yeah, and I just I let it go. I let it all, like I let the world just go, right? And
Yeah.
just was in that. And it wasn't even like, the medicine version of me or like the priestess in me is like, was I journeying and was I visioning? No, no, I was a fucking druid. Like, you know what I mean? It was like, just
You
sit
were just being,
and be.
right? Just
So,
being is the best.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
Sometimes.
anyways, I got back from that, and don't get me wrong, like I like there was like the kids were, I was solo parenting, so the kids wanted me or cried for me, and that was, that was that. But her children and the whole environment was so supportive, where I could handle as best
Mhm.
I could, even though there's nighttime meltdowns and there's screaming and there's itchy bug bites that my child would not stop scratching, like life on planet Earth. It is what it
Yeah.
is. So I just got off from that. And then you're my first back on screen. And I was like, this is perfect. This is perfect to be talking to you today.
This is perfect. It's kind of like goes into all the energies that we've been feeling. So I'm just gonna like tie
Yeah,
it into astrology now, unless you have something else to say, but
please. No,
you
go
can
for it.
add it after. So basically, we are still in Cancer season, Sun is in Cancer, but we're having now five as we flow. Basically, we are because there's so much water, we're flowing into July with three planets in Cancer, Sun, Venus, and Mercury still in Cancer. And then Saturn just moved retrograde 29th of June, 19 degrees. I'm going to go a little bit over that in a bit. And then Neptune is turning retrograde, stationing retrograde tomorrow. So those are, again, water energies. Pisces is this mutable water. So there's a lot of water, and water in this kind of context, when these big planets are stationing retrograde, and I'll explain that in a little bit more in detail, there's like a slowdown. And one thing I noticed once the Cancer season kind of kicked off, like when that kind of really bright contrast from Gemini, when you're like, oh, I have to answer all the messages, I want to finish this, you're going answering, like you're going everywhere, because Gemini is also kind of like neighbors and family and like your neighborhood. So it was like when Sun entered into Cancer and then other planets as well, there was this is like retraction. It's just like whew, an exhale.
Yeah.
We need Cancer season for me, if I look back, has always been when you're just like, we need to take care of ourselves. There's this like it's retraction, it's going within, it's kind of it's roots, it's family. We're taking care of ourselves. And the Cancer
Mm,
is taking care of ourselves. And so what's happening now with these bigger planets turning red, we might feel exhausted. There's parts of us that feel exhausted. There's parts of us that feel like there's endings with the Neptune being turning retrograde and going to this 29th degree for the last time in our lifetimes. There is kind of a big there's dissolution,
yep.
dissolving of illusions. I hope you know. There's all
Yep.
these kind of bigger, there's endings, there's definitely like huge karmic endings, on like planetary karmic endings, like we as a
Yeah.
are experiencing this big karmic ending of certain type of levels of consciousness, of beings of consciousness. Some things are dying off, and some things are like accelerating and rising in frequency. And also that's how I felt like my body sometimes just needs so much extra sleep and so much extra rest. So that's kind of going into Neptune realms where we are um so what do you think of my
I just had to take notes on that because that was so good. First
Mhm.
of all, I want to just clear up the, you said there were three planets as we
So
flow into July in Cancer. Was it Mercury, Venus, and the
Sun,
sun?
Venus, and Mercury is still in Cancer. So Sun will be in Cancer until it goes into Leo until 22nd of July. Then Venus is, where is my dates? Venus is from July 11th. It's going to be in 10 days. Venus enters Leo and then stays until August 4th. And then Mercury enters into Leo in a few days because it's in the 28th degree. So in couple days.
Yeah.
So it's moving. The sun is going to stay basically in that Cancer energy in after July 11th.
So this is what the thing that flew out of me when you were just saying that is like, I want to touch base on the whole idea of reality. And with all this energy in Cancer, it's like Mama came home. Mama's home. Like it's Cancer season. She's letting you
Yeah.
know Mama came home and she's walking around the house going, what the F just happened in here? Where are we at? Like, that like sitting down for reality check. And it's
Yeah.
the opposite of the reality check you get with Capricorn as the dad, right?
Yeah.
It's like, so, and I feel like as you're saying, like the dissolving of illusion, right? Mama's home and she's taking stock and she's looking around and seeing what's
Mhm.
going on after her return for a year. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah,
Go ahead.
definitely. And Saturn is in Pisces, so there's kind of also this like opening, and Saturn is going retrograde, and I'll give you the dates just in one moment. So Saturn is going retrograde, station retrograde, June 29th until, oh my God, where are my dates? Until November 15th. So
Mhm.
that's the energy of the father looking at like the spiritual truth and spiritual
Mm.
illusions as well. So we can tie this in together, like that mother energy and the
Yeah.
father is looking through illusions, and there's boundaries, there's completion. Pisces is always about completion. So both of these big players like Neptune and Saturn, both of them are in Pisces. Both of them are looking at illusions, looking at our dreams, looking at what is untrue, what have been carrying that feels draining. Like look,
Yeah.
retrograde periods are always about looking what's there that is just like it's enough, like that's what's depleting, what's draining, like habits, maybe our path, maybe our choices are changing, maybe we're
Mm.
looking now like, okay, I was so certain that this is my path, this is my choice, this is my all that I want, but now it's going to be time over the next few months where you're like, no, that feels draining, that feels exhausting, that doesn't feel right anymore. And this is something I've noticed that might change quite quickly, because our time still kind of feels like there's this acceleration. There's like, I can feel the quantum jumps happening where there's this big, like, kind of like openings for them to happen.
Yeah.
And we can feel that our kind of consciousness changes, and we get more clarity. Maybe for my personal experience, like I get more clear. Okay, I don't want that anymore. I don't want that person. I don't want that situation. I don't want that kind of element of my work to be present. Like, if that makes sense. So there's clarity,
Hmm.
more clarity. We are looking through illusion, and also strong boundaries,
Ooh.
strong learning of how to establish boundaries and self-worth and all of those things.
This reminds me of what I tell people every summer. Summer is intense. And when you have a lot of light being shown onto something, it is bound to get like we have flare ups, there are meltdowns,
Yeah.
blow ups. It's like people love the summer. The summer's awesome. Who doesn't want some nice warm weather and to strip off layers and be able to be free and open and bloom and blossom? Those are like the positive summer qualities. But
Yeah.
the other bits of summer qualities that no one wants to look at is like that there's so much light illuminating and pointing onto things. It's
Mhm.
going to stir up and kick up and show what's going on that doesn't need to be in the garden. That
Exactly.
doesn't need to be in your house. It shows the dust. It shows the dirty spots. It shows the snake in the
Mhm.
garden.
It
You
shows
know?
like the corners that we don't want to look at, that is just there for the whole winter. And it's like, finally, we need to clear them out. Like that's the time.
Exactly.
And also the cancer season, and also now it coincides with the Saturn retrograde. Like I will tell a little bit of degrees, like, and then whoever wants to figure it out or whoever knows, but I will just like explain. So Saturn retrograde in a second decan of Pisces, that's where the retrograde will happen, is connected to the themes of Cancer. That's why I'm bringing it up, because it's in Cancer season, which will be highlighted, especially unresolved family wounds, parental wounds, unconscious childhood needs that were suppressed or frozen. I have been feeling this kind of part of my life being brought up to the surface so viscerally and so raw,
Mm,
like never before. Like
wow.
this, yeah. like the father wound, the mother wound, my childhood, like working through all of that, going back and reworking, because some parts, because I'm sensing really felt like that aspect of healing being, how you say it,
Like
not
cyclical?
spiral,
Cyclical?
cyclical, not linear, but
Yeah.
I don't know what's happening today with my voice. Not spiral, but what is that? Circular.
Circular? Yeah.
Is it circular? No,
I
there's
mean,
another word.
mm,
Spiral.
cyclical? Did you like cyclical or no?
No, there's a specific word. It's like it goes up in a spiral. Anyways, doesn't matter.
Okay.
Let's not get
Yeah,
lost.
yeah.
Yeah, but it was brought up like deeper layers of this, even like weeks coming up to the Saturn retrograde, because we are in a pre-shadow, always, like there's these pre-shadow periods when planets go retrograde. So I felt that, those themes coming up for me personally. So whoever's listening, and if you resonate with anything we are sharing, just like please share in the notes or
Mhm.
comments or whatever you're sharing, like in any kind of, or whatever you're listening to this episode.
And I'm bringing this up. We're bringing this up because I think a lot of people can go into victim mode in these intense parts of the years. This is winter and summer. I mean, people are acting out that archetype all the time. But in winter and summer, it's like, oh, this sucks. Why is this happening to me in the summer? I should feel good. It's summer. Or oh, this is the holiday season. I shouldn't have to feel like this in the winter. Why is this depression acting up again? Or what, like, and it's like,
Yeah.
I'm just reminding people that it's the intensity of being on the ends of the spectrum in the poles. We're at and we're
Yeah.
the poles. It's very different from the equinox, that balance, those like spring and fall times that are like the in-between stages. This is us going to the peak of the
Mhm.
intensity of what's being felt in your life and on the planet. There's a lot there. And I'd say there's a lot of wisdom and medicine sitting there
Absolutely.
waiting for you. Like for me, it's been more like real big highlight on my central nervous system and levels of stress. And I don't drink. I stopped smoking pot 7 months ago. Even with my coffee, I have to make half decaf, half regular now. Like I can't have too much caffeine. It's like I'm just becoming so sensitive, and I don't mean that in a weak way. It
I
means
know.
like I have to go deeper with taking care of my body and
Yeah.
managing stress levels and managing being a mom with multiples, running multiple businesses with multiple passion projects, living on a road in a town where there's a lot of people. You know what I mean? Like in an active part of our country. Like it just is. It's where I am in my life. It's the path I've chosen. And I'm working through not leaning on all these substances besides
Yeah.
like, really getting clear about my mineral intake and taking Celtic sea salts and making sure I've got adaptogens and mushrooms and this and that. And like exploring that and also exploring like what is rattled in me
Yeah.
when I get to those states. Like that's been my summer. It's really been my whole year, but I have to like, I can't lean on like the Jane right now anymore. You know what I mean? So I'm really face to face with it. If you get what I'm saying.
That's really interesting. There's several points. I think the nervous system overload can often happens to me in Gemini season. And then we
Mm,
move into Cancer season is like, oh, how can I change things and implement new habits? And
mm,
cancer medicine is literally teaching us how to take care of ourselves, how to let little for in our today's world, how to disconnect from, let's say, computer screens, how to change unhealthy habits. Like I stopped drinking alcohol last year. I sometimes still, like, I have a very different relationship, and I also see
right.
how my life quality changes. But
Mm,
medicine of the cancer season is literally taking care of ourselves, like honoring what our body needs, instead of pushing through, instead of like to-do lists have to become kind of secondary. And also the other really beautiful thing that Cancer season teaches us, go with the flow, because we switch kind of from the logical mind into the right brain and the connection with the heart, where we are learning to trust life, learning to kind of navigate also the emotions, the to-do, trusting that to-do list will get done, and we like kind of flow with these emotions. And I feel it fully to be truth, like letting go of the to-do list a little bit, not
Yeah.
like completely, but letting life guide you. Like there's emotion that will come up and you will be doing this, and then it's kind of that flow,
Yeah.
navigating your life more with the flow, because um Cancer and Pisces is water, so it's emotion, it's flow, so it's trust, it's surrender, it's also trusting that life will take care of things. Just be in alignment. And being in alignment, another really beautiful thing of Cancer season that it teaches us in medicine is honoring the passing emotions. It could be sadness, joy, anger, rage, grief, sadness, all of these things, especially with the Neptune going retrograde. There's going to be parts of ourselves that we will let go, or parts of our past, or our ancestors, any kind of past like that we're letting go. There's sadness, but honoring the passing emotion and letting it be and letting it flow through your body and giving your body that sacred moment of experiencing it, instead of pushing it down, instead of going to Netflix and numbing. Stay with the emotion. It doesn't mean it's going to be like a day long process. It could be 2 minutes,
Yeah.
and you flow through. That is, I think, one of the most potent elements of the medicine of a Cancer, being in that flow where you honor the body, honor the emotion, and then you'll see how that emotional flow will guide you and you will get everything done in
Mm.
exactly the time. Also trusting the timing, trusting everything. And it makes it just everything so easy when you are not, because Cancer and Pisces energy is feminine. It's feminine. You have to, we surrender, we trust, we receive, instead of the masculine where we just push and push and push. Make sense?
Yeah. These are great themes for what's going on, and like collectively there too, you know?
Yeah.
You can see this happening collectively. It's almost like you can see the focus on the central nervous system on the planet
Yeah.
right now. And for her, even like the consciousness of Gaia, like she's having this upgrade too. She's going through this too. And
Mm-hmm.
I think, even though I know we've gotten a little far out with me saying that right now, but I think it's like a great example with you talking about the going with the flow and me bringing it up collectively. It's like, this is the awakening. It's going to be everywhere. It's happening in every nook and cranny. It's not this one subject. Everyone thinks the subject there behind is the one subject that is having this awakening. And it's like, it's in every nook and cranny. It's in every system. It's in the skeletal system. It's in the central nervous system of us and our
Mm-hmm.
communities and the land and the consciousness of the planet. She's having it too. It's happening anyway. You can't stop it.
No, it's like it's a one, or we are all one organism, so it can't be like something is switched off. There will
Right.
be there will be parts of, I think, humans that are on a soul level have decided not to, let's say, go into,
Yeah.
like, let's say, deeper or further towards the journey of ascension. But as a planet, as a majority of people, whether they sometimes understand the process or not, it is happening, and it will only keep expanding, accelerating. And the aspect that sometimes is difficult, and we often see these posts or articles about ascension symptoms, they won't get easier. We will get stronger. We are already getting stronger. And that part that you said, I am seeing how I can take care of my nervous system, my habits, All of that is you being clever and smart, and the consciousness of the planet is teaching you, this is my way of supporting you. I'm giving you tools. I'm showing you where this is not good for you anymore. This will
Yeah.
make you sick. And even though in the past we were more disconnected with the body, now we are very connected with the body, especially those who do kind of consciously connect with it. So I think it's really beautiful that that happens. And I think it's beautiful that more people share the right type of information. But going back to the element, yes, we are getting stronger, but it also, our bodies and our consciousnesses needs our support. We need to be proactive. We can't just like lay back. Yeah, I'm ascending.
Right.
That's not how it works. It's whether you show up or whether you kind of suffer a little bit and being dragged through it, because you will feel it more if you don't take care of yourself. And a lot of people are already feeling that on a planet, because a lot of toxins and things, and there's different layers of this conversation, but I'm going to stay with the self-care because we have only one episode, and we can speak about other things in the future. We are in Cancer season, so we're going to focus on taking care of ourselves. But the more we pay attention and take care of ourselves in many different ways, like you researching supplements, I always research supplements, like what do I need in a certain moment, like for my skin, for my, I love lion's mane. I've been taking lion's mane for 3 years.
Yeah.
I think it has saved my sanity, because I,
Mm.
like, just like a little insight, I had a really horrific addiction down spiral into rock bottom last year. I'm just gonna say that as a part of like my journey, not a long story, just like a little bit, and how I've researched what has helped me, what did I have to leave behind. These are really on theme, like what's happening astrologically. I need to make those decisions in order to survive, and also not only survive but thrive
Hmm.
from now on forward. So yeah, is that okay if I mention some part of my story? You don't mind, right?
Oh,
I think it's
I'm the
great because
story
people.
queen. That's the best. The story is everything. I kicked it
Okay.
off with the story. Hello. We're right
Real.
on track.
So this is gonna be like, this is just like a little, like a dip in how the themes of our episode, because it's just gonna get juicier and deeper. That's
It
how
is.
I feel.
It is. And also for anyone who can't see us right now, LOL, we both got on this call with t-shirts on, no bras, our hair either up in a bun or out in a wavy mess. Like we weren't coming dolled up to this call. And
No.
we're both moms and we're like, this is how this like this is it. This is the energy. We're both like, no, let's just go live. Like
Yeah.
this is the vibe. We can't pretend we're anything other than this right now, you know?
Exactly. And my part was that you wanted me to share was, I woke up at 6 in the morning and I was like, okay, I need to prepare certain things, but I'm like, I want to cut like that. I was in such bliss, like cuddled in pillows and watching, like listening to inner child meditation after I basically was like five. I would pass out with another. That is the Cancer season in Neptune going retrograde, like on its peak. It's like cuddled in like like a heaven of pillows and
Yeah.
like listening to child meditation. Yeah, and I was blissed out. But then I was like, oh yeah, I have to get up. But now I'm good. I got some. I drank my two coffees, which is not what I do usually. But I was like, okay, I need to work.
It was
So that can be a
right.
challenge. That can be a challenge when Neptune goes into, but there's a lot of Cancer, which is very emotional, and which is water, which is emotions, inner world, and then Neptune on top, which is our subconscious and just like this deep kind of subtle energy. There's no clarity with Neptune. There's like
Mm.
unclarity. It's a lot of illusion, and it's just stationing retrograde in like that's tomorrow. So we are in that fog of like things. So what I see is for Neptune stationing retrograde, there's two things. One is you can kind of really get lost in illusion, and one is you can break through in a clarity if you let yourself kind of just go through the fog and just like surrender and let it be, and like kind of not trying with your logical mind to figure out some kind of way. Let your soul guide you. That's kind of like a little bit abstract, but that's how I would tell you how you move and work with Neptune.
Mm.
Just a little side notes about the Neptune retrograde,
Yes, please.
which is going to be, so the dates for Neptune retrograde, it starts July 2nd, tomorrow. It's going to last until December 15 this year.
Wow.
Um, so Neptune is the planet of dreams, intuition, illusions, and it's in a critical degree. And we talked a little about this, about an heretic degree, which is the 29th degree, which, so the dates when it's at this 29th degree, it's from July until September, and then March, because it's going to go retrograde, so it's going to change the degree and go a little bit back. But Neptune in general has the function of spiritualizing everything it touches. So what it means, this anaretic 29th degree, it's the last degree of the zodiac. So that's why when I initially started to talk about it, like karmic endings and new beginnings for our planet, this is a huge cycle. For many generations, we won't experience this type, like we are ending cycles that have been worked through or experienced or lived for many generations, and we are finishing lessons that we've been learning and our ancestors have been learning. And so we are letting go of a lot of grief. And maybe people, some of you that listen to this podcast, like I work as a transmuter sometimes for collective, and I'm sure you do too.
Yeah.
Like sometimes
Yeah.
you feel those really deep themes of grief and like suffering and pain and all of those things that our ancestors have experienced in order to survive. And also, so that's one part, and the other part is learning those lessons and becoming stronger with it. So now there's clarity, now there's strength and power and wisdom, and we can see that as, like, when we talked about our collective consciousness ascending, there's so much more wisdom coming through, and we can connect it to the star, like the star systems and all of those things, and there's so much to talk about always. But to condense it down a little bit, so this period invites for deep introspection and reassessment of our dreams and also spiritual beliefs. So
Wow.
being also careful, because there is already a lot of, not fake spirituality, but I would invite people to be careful and really tuned into the soul to when they make choices to what to connect, whether it is a human, whether it is a teaching, a book, and an entity, all of these more
Yeah.
spiritual things. It can be tricky unless you are connected to yourself and to your deeply embodied. Otherwise, it can be quite dangerous to be out in a world where there's a lot of voices who can pretend to be something else that they're not, and not the love and light and all of that.
And that just explains even deeper the whole thinning of the veil, and really the veil
Yeah.
coming down, the disillusionment. And just like everywhere where it's happening, these things that we thought were now are not. Just to give a good example, because in
Yeah.
America, we just had our debate, and thankfully I was away in the woods and didn't watch it, or I, not that I don't even think my central nervous system and body could even handle watching that, because I've been shouting this from rooftops for years. But I came back to all the memes about it and all the talk online about it, let's say, right? So I'm reviewing this, and basically what's happening is it's like people are finally going, oh my God, is it this bad? Like, is this real? Wait, this is really that bad? And I'm like, for the love of God, thank you. I've been shouting this for 8 years, 5 years, 3 years, the last 7 months, right? Like, if you think that either of these two candidates can do anything besides show up to a local coffee shop circle and tell stories, you're fucking tripping. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
it's a delusion that people are playing out. And it's like, people finally see the planes on fire, right?
Mhm.
And it's like the left wing and the right wing were on the same plane, two sides to the same bird, and they're both not aware. They're not seeing just how bad the reality of this situation is. And how many of us on this plane in the cockpit, in the back, in the middle, being like, the plane's on fire.
Yeah.
Like, no, 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 it's fine. It's the other engine. It's the other engine. And it's like, yo, we're heading towards a fucking mountain. Wake up.
Like all
So,
of us. And the biggest illusion is the divide, the one group, the divide, something against the something. I don't go into details. I don't ask me ever. Like at this point in my life, I'm not gonna. First of all, I don't take sides because I can see it kind of from perspective, but the debates and that intense kind of hatred towards something that's not real.
right.
I'm not going to name
Yeah, yeah,
like
yeah. No, don't,
groups. Like
no.
there's
Yeah.
trans people, there's left and right and woke and all of those. And when
Uh-huh.
I look at that, for some days I take like, okay, I'm gonna take a look at the real world because okay, let's like because I have work to do and I
Right,
don't always have time to hours and hours of circus. I don't.
right,
I understand that there's an important part of that conversation and it has to be had, but there's also, I don't know how much of that part is so unnecessary and so
right,
created only for the purpose of division and for distracting you from what's actually real and what's
right.
important. You can fight with each other
Yep.
while the plane's on fire,
Right,
basically.
right.
That's the easiest uh, kind of
Analogy.
method that I could put. But I agree with you entirely. And I hope that these illusions, and also we can see a little by little how Pluto now is going back into Capricorn and destroying all the rest of the structures that need to be destroyed. And let's say all different kinds, people, structures, false kind of not paradise things, but what am I trying to say? Help me,
I
Jayme.
know, no, I,
Pluto's going back and destroying things that we need to see. So this continued
right,
conversation that the things are need to be paid attention, but the right type of things. So Pluto will continue to destroy what is not working anymore, and it will look more and more. Going back to the initial conversation when you said about the candidates and politics in America, this will reveal more and more where it is going to become so absurd that
mhm,
yeah, we will go like, what is this real? But this hasn't been real for a very long time.
right,
Very long time. Yeah.
right. And it's like, I guess what I'm speaking for, where you and I are both speaking for that person who feels that, who feels completely alienated, that isn't part of that camp or that camp and that circus and that, I mean, the cult, whatever you want to call it. It's like those
Yeah.
of us that have been like on the fringe, like outside of that,
Mhm.
who have chosen to like remove their body, their spirit, their mind from those group thinks. You know what I mean?
They are
And you're just
toxic, which are often so toxic for people like
right.
us. Yeah.
And right, right. And then we get ourselves, and it's like, actually, I'd rather be alone and not be understood by my friends, by my family, and not our friends. Like we have friends that are like totally right there with us. But you know what I mean? Like by society, by school, by work, and you're living in this fringe place where you can like see it all happening and you know what I mean? And I'm bringing this up because it can be lonely there, you
Yeah.
know, but there's so
So
many of us that like it's like just reminding people there's a network, there's an energetic global network that you can tap into, our consciousness of people who are here for the revival of this, for the healing of this, for the truth speaking of this. You know what I mean? Where there's so many of us, you're not alone in this. There's a
yeah.
lot of work being done energetically, and you're most likely on that team if you're feeling that. You know, you're on a team to help build something else, and you don't mind seeing and feeling and hearing the intensities. And that's Cancer season,
Yeah,
right?
definitely. And I think for everyone who kind of goes through, there is that moment of the void where it's like, I don't belong to this group, but I don't haven't find my soul tribe. And
Mm-hmm.
then keep looking. We are out there and there's more bigger groups, there's bigger connections, there's the network is growing and connecting stronger, because there was a moment in time last year and before where I felt such a, because light is kind of, light can be individualized. Let's say a light worker can, like, we can work by ourselves, and there was a time when we needed to kind of isolate and like being a hermit because it was too much. There
Right.
a lot of us, there was a moment in time that was like that even last year. But I think now there's something has opened. We have overcome a threshold, overstepped
Mhm.
some type energetically where there is a lot more support. So keep searching, reach out, connect. I think there's more of us being actually working together, talking with each other, creating communities, collaborating, all of that. So I think there's more of that happening. I don't know if it's for me personally, but I think it's collectively as well. But I
Absolutely.
remember those years where it was very, very lonely
Yeah.
as well. So I relate to that.
I think that goes with the like Gemini into Cancer season two. I've seen such an uptick of the reformations of communities,
Yeah.
the regatherings, the coming back together, the ideas, the collaborations, the co-creations. Like you and I have wanted to do this for years, and it
Yeah.
it clicked this year. You know what I mean? Of like, yeah, let's do it, right? And the amount of like being asked to be part of this, getting a job over here, so and so asking you to do this, a thing that's a vision of yours, but you're going to need 10 other people to do it, right? Or even those of us that have big, big, big visions where you're going to need hundreds and thousands of people to be
Hmm.
behind this. It's like when the vision is bigger than you, right? And like how
Which
many,
often it is like for you and
right,
me, that's the case. I know
right.
that. But have you, I will ask you a question.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I hope I'm not interrupting you. Do you
No.
feel that there is a more, when this kind of my dream and my vision felt like, yes, I definitely want to do it. I will forever fight for that. But now it felt like far away, and now it feels like, oh, it's kind of much closer. It's in the vicinity. The more I can work on myself and let go of those illusions and those blocks and those scarcity and the all the things that I'm carrying that are not really mine and not serving that bigger purpose, because I'm only the kind of custodian, the vessel for that energy to come in,
Yep.
me along with other people, and same for you. That is more real now. It feels more joyful. It feels more, not easy, but the same way easier than it you felt before. I don't know if you do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think you're actually demonstrating the manifestation current really well. Meaning, I write about this in the book too. Um, it's like to use the manifestation current and have it be, the seed of consciousness drops in, right? The co-creation happens, this thing,
Yeah.
this creation, this energy, this form that has its own blueprint, it has its own vibe, goes, I
Yeah.
need to be born on the planet. And it finds the best person and the best people that can make it happen, right? And the seed drops in, and then we've got to think about it. And then we've got to let it be in the mental field, in the mental realm. And you may think about it for months to years. You may be thinking about
Yeah.
this thing for years, people, right? And
Years. Yeah.
it's mental, mental, mental. And then you start to bring it into your body and you bring it down your throat. Maybe you start talking about it more. And you're talking, I'm going to write this book, or I'm going to, we really need a community around this. We need a muffin shop that has some real fruit in there. I don't know, whatever the fuck it is, right? And then you
Yeah.
pull it into your heart, and then you bring it into the emotional body, and it starts to show up more. And then you're really like working through it in your body, in your cells, in your tissues, in your emotions over and over again. Right. And then you bring it down into your solar plexus and you start to match up with your fires and your willpower. Can I do this? That's when you're going to face your doubt, your
Yeah.
unworthiness. Can I actually do this? Who am I? Am I the right person to do this? Oh my God, will I ever be able to overcome these blocks to be able to do the damn thing? And then you pull it down into your creation center even more, and you sit with it and you go into your cave with it. And that's when you get all like mad scientisty or wild woman in her cave. I'm going to do this, right? And then that's when we go into the material versions of this, the material world,
Yeah.
the material realms, and we start birthing it and down, bringing it out through the root chakra and birthing it onto the ground. And then you wake up one day and you go, "Oh my God, it's here,"
Yeah.
which
Oh
is
my God.
what you
I
just
love
said,
how you described it. It made my whole body like, yes, yes,
right?
yes, yes, 100%. I really needed to hear this today.
Yeah, because then you just wake up and you're like, "Oh fuck, I had the baby. It's here," and it won't shut up. Oh my god. Oh my god.
Oh my God, I
Yeah.
had three.
Oh my God, I have to, right? Like, and it's the same thing. I think that I put that in my book on purpose because I think a lot of people can realize in what I just said where you're stuck. Some people never get
Yeah.
it past the throat and
Yeah.
they just think about it and talk
That is
about
the
it, think
biggest
about it and
one.
talk about it,
It's
right?
just an idea forever, and it dies an idea,
Yeah.
and that is the saddest
Yep.
part. But when
And can
you
I say off that,
so
sorry, because it
read Jamie's book,
continues. Yeah, read the book, guys, because it's fucking in here. I explain all of it. And that's why I can also say, don't get pissed if the idea you realize someone's doing it 5 months to 5 years later, because the creation itself needs to get born. So it's looking for the
yeah,
right co-creator. And if you continue to not be the one, you continue to say no to it, well, it's going to go find the best person that's going to do the damn thing.
yeah,
So, because a lot of people, like, there's like stories like the sticky note. There were like over a dozen people who had the idea of the sticky note, and it finally came out. And a lot of people were like, that was my idea. And it's like, but they had no connection to each
mm-hmm.
other. It was an
I love
invention
that kind
that
of,
needed to be
yeah,
born. And someone finally
explanation.
said, let's put some adhesive that isn't that sticky and back a bunch of papers together. And the sticky note was born, right?
Yeah,
Like little shit like that. Like if you keep saying no, it's gonna move on. And then people go, well, wait, what if I'm not ready to write this book? This is what I tell my people. Get into ceremony with it now. If you have an idea coming to
yeah,
you and you have something that wants to work with you, get into ceremony with it now and make a contract with it. You already have a contract with it, but
you already, yeah,
get clear about what that contract is. Get clear about some action. Get clear about the steps that need to take. Get clear about the healing that needs to take place for the thing to happen.
I'm making notes, by the way. I hope you people are doing notes, but also buy the book. Yes,
Mm.
help you.
Another thing that I'm continuously in ceremony with as I continuously chip away at this hell of a project. Like writing a book is like literally it's given me a run for my money, right? It's the bigness of that my soul's like,
Yeah,
yep, I'm doing this, and this is the first big one I'm taking through publishing, and it's a bitch of a job, and I love it. I love it, and I keep coming back to it. You know what I mean? And it's gonna be on the shelves. It's gonna
yeah,
have, you know what I mean? It's like I'm inching my way there. And some of this stuff doesn't just appear overnight. Like I said in that manifestation current, this shit takes time.
yeah, definitely.
Ooh, all right. I think we definitely probably just hit definitely a 45-minute mark. LOL. You
Yeah,
and I
I
keep
think,
going. I
yeah,
love
we can
how,
go on forever, but come back next month and we'll be
yep,
here talking about continuing to talk about things. And
I
we'll
love
put
how,
some more details. I will put more like a possibly like a dates with kind of transit, so there's a little bit more clarity in the show notes if
if
we
you
want.
want, yeah, send me
I
over
think
those
it would be
notes.
nice for people because we go over themes, but I think it's nice for like to also have the little bit of the date, just a short one, the
Sure.
date.
Also, I
Yeah.
love how we started off with nice story time and ended so intensely with such big themes and such, like, isn't that cancer for you?
No, that
Oh,
is me and you for you. That is me and that is two Capricorns in Cancer season. That's what it is for you, babe. Like that's we're never gonna stay on the circle
shallow.
like
Yeah,
story. Not that is story. Stories can be beautiful in any kind of way, but I think where we live, that we live in depth often, so it's gonna be something that comes through. And I think people who connected to us in this podcast will be looking for that, and I
yeah,
hopefully you are, and share in comments like what would you like to hear, do you resonate, what kind of more themes like about in regards to astrology and energy you'd like to hear. It's always really interesting to hear what you
absolutely.
want. Yeah.
Okay, why don't we let them know how can they work with you? And I know the information's in the show notes, but what do you want them to know today
Yeah.
with working with you?
So the most potent time where you can have astrology session, as if you have had one or with another astrologer, just when you feel stuck or unclear or something intense is happening in your life, we are going to have a session with you right now after this. So
Yes.
so my people come to me some every month, some once a year. But if you feel called to like have clarity more in your life, book a session. If you never had a session, definitely book a session because and with me, you would book a session if you want to go deeper into kind of spiritual realm and past life incarnation, soul level astrology, and so. And then the last thing that I offer now, that is, I think, my most favorite offering, is monthly sessions with me when we do astrology. We do clearings, we do karmic clearings, we do timeline activations, really kind of anything you would like, tailored to your energy. So that's what we do in a mentoring with stars program. So anything you want to connect, it's some of it is will be in show notes, or just message me on Instagram or on my website.
Oh, I'm so excited to have the session with you right now.
Yeah,
and hear all about what the hell is going on in my chart. I love it. Okay, and if anyone wants to connect with me, I would say Wake the Dragon, which is my program that is just alive in me. I have 3 sessions and 10 sessions if you want way deeper of an experience. But in Wake the Dragon, we focus specifically on soul purpose, on personal coaching. There's a lot of coaching in there. And I also do a lot of soul retrieval. I do a lot of spirit releasement therapy, and I'm doing just a lot of deep work helping people clear out energies and situations that do not need to be living in them anymore, and they can't move forward. And there's such blocks, you know what I mean? So I love doing that. It's almost like my sessions nowadays, it's like, and that everything I just said is sometimes combined in one session. Like, it's not like, okay, spirit releasement. No, we start off with soul purpose, or we start off with marketing, and very quickly we are on a walk into like an entity of a fragment of your mother's consciousness that was, you know, exploded onto you from the age of 4 that you haven't been able to shake or clear since then. And that's
so powerful. Yeah.
Right? It's like, this is like, that's the depth of the work I'm here to do. You know what I mean? It's all connected. That's what I'm saying. It's all connected, baby.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you so much for listening. I will see you next month. Jayme will see you soon. And we love you so much. And stay connected.
Thank you, everyone, for listening to our latest episode. We will see you next time. Enjoy the summer, people. Talk soon. Bye.
Bye.